It's not every day you see Super GMs checkmating each other in just 26 moves. So this game's really fun. It was played between Wesley So and Alireza Firouzja. This is the Magnus Carlsen Invitational 2021. So it was an online rapid event. Wesley has white here, and I'm especially taking a look at this game because the two players will be playing in just over a week in the Grand Chess Tour, Classical Chess. They always have brilliant games. So let's see what happened here. Wesley kicked off with pawn to e4, and Alireza went in for his favourite Caro-Kann. So after d4, d5, Wesley went for the advanced variation. The bishop came to f5 here, and Wesley goes knight f3, and he takes us down the main line. So after pawn to e6, bishop to e2 played. White doesn't go bishop d3 there because it can get very drawish once those bishops are exchanged off. So knight e7 now from Alireza. There are different options there, you know, knight d7, different things. But he's going for some quick kingside play here. So after castles from white, he goes pawn h6. And after Wesley brings the knight to d2, we'll see his very aggressive intentions in mind because he goes knight d7. This knight came to b3, clamping on c5, and now he goes g5, an absolute classic Alireza move. He loves to attack. So bishop d2 now from Wesley, a modest developing move, not reacting too hard to black. If g4, for example, well, the knight finds a nice home on h4, very solid there, hits the bishop, white's doing well. So Alireza went pawn a5 instead. He wants to kick this knight, so a4 from Wesley. The queen came to c7 developing, and now Wesley just goes pawn to c3. A very modest move, very steady, just bolstering the centre. You know, he could have gone c4 in one, but he wants to see how black plays, and Alireza already plays very ambitiously here. So he could have gone, say, bishop to g7, just developing a piece, maybe preparing to castle this way soon, but he goes pawn to f6, already striking at the centre. Now this is a very common idea in these kind of structures. You see it a lot in the advanced French as well, but you are now attacking the centre when your king isn't castled, so it's double-edged. The pawn captures now, and here Alireza doesn't recapture with the knight, which is the obvious move, because then this knight finds a really nice home on e5, and you can't go, say, knight g6 challenging it, or then pawn g4 comes. Black's in all sorts of trouble. If the bishop comes here, we come here, and if you take on e5, you're losing a piece. This is all bad for black. So that's why the knight didn't take on f6 immediately. Alireza went knight to g6 first, covering this e5 square, but now Wesley goes pawn c4. He gets some play going in the centre. And now here Alireza should take this pawn on f6. And we'll see the significance of that in a moment, because he instead plays bishop to d6 here, and it allows Wesley to unleash a fantastic combination. So he first takes on d5. Now Alireza captures with the e-pawn. If he goes with the c-pawn, the problem with this move is the rook is coming to c1, picks up a tempo on the queen. You've also given this b5 square, you know, a bishop could land there soon. Really bad pawn structure for black. Now Alireza takes with the e-pawn, but this is equally fraught with danger because you've now opened the e-file to your king. And can you find here the move that Wesley played to exploit this situation? And if you're enjoying this video, do hit that like button to let me know, and consider subscribing to the channel to never miss my Alireza games. So in this position, Wesley played the phenomenal bishop to d3. So he's giving a whole bishop. That was taken by Alireza, but here's the follow-up. Bishop takes on a5, uncovering the attack of the queen on this bishop, but the problem here is you're giving a second piece. Rook takes on a5. So now Wesley captures this bishop. He's just one bishop down here, not two. But the black rook is attacked by the knight here, and the queen attacks this knight on g6. And that's why Alireza didn't save the rook here, would say rook to a8, because then you take here with check, say king d8, pawn f7, and if you bring the rook across, well, we're bringing this rook into the game, slamming down here, the whole thing's lost. So you can't save that rook on a5, you don't have time, you have to do something about your knight. And just coming back to that earlier variation, by the way, if this bishop was still on f8 and the knight was on f6 instead, well, now you could have planted that knight on e4. That's the point. That's why knight takes on f6 was better. But okay, that move isn't possible. Now Alireza defended the knight like this. If you go knight to f4, well, then we check here. King f7, queen f5. The attack continues. Pawn g3 is coming. Really not good for black, starting to collapse. So we didn't have knight f4. We didn't have the rook being saved. Alireza defended it like this with king f7. And now the knight picks up on a5. The queen recaptured. And queen f5, once again invading, attacking this undefended piece, and also looking at this sensitive square on e6. So after the queen defended the knight, a rook hit the e-file here, and there's a threat of going queen to e6 check, picking up this undefended bishop. And so that's why the knight hopped back. It defends that square, but now can you see how Wesley continued the attack, just crashing through to that king? So here he plays rook to e7 check. The bishop captured, pawn takes back, checking the king. That one was taken, and now another rook came to the e-file, and after the king moved away, this knight hit e5. So Wesley's still a whole piece down here, but the king hunt is well and truly on. Now rook h7 was played here, adding defense to this rank, stopping knight f7 check, for example, forking king and queen. But now Wesley plays very simply. He takes on d7 here. Now if the knight recaptures, that's game over because you're leaving the defense of your rook. There's also devastating attacks with rook e6 check. And if the queen captures, which we saw in the game, well, then Wesley's allowed to deliver this beautiful mate, queen e5 check. The king is completely boxed in. That's mate on the board. If you enjoyed this game and want to see another insane game between Wesley So and Alireza Firouzja, click here. Thanks for watching. See you soon.